the ministers aren't in charge. Except when they are. But lots of churches go through ups and downs when ministers come and go. And our Unity community is minister-proof. And I say that in the most loving way because we are so grateful to Jim and Sharon. But yay! It's awesome. We have a video from Rev Jim Blake, who's the CEO at Unity headquarters, that just feels nice to know that Unity of Fort Collins is connected to a tree. So if we could play that, if anybody missed it from last week, it feels sweet.
Greetings, Unity of Fort Collins, Reverend Jim and Reverend Sharon. Congratulations on 50 years of bringing light and love to the planet. This anniversary of your church is an achievement that speaks to the legacy of ongoing spiritual community this ministry has forged for over the last 5 decades. It's clear to see that you strengthen and comfort each other and your local community as you share Unity teachings with the world. Albert Einstein said, "Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value." For 50 years, your ministry has been adding value to people's lives, enriching their experiences, uplifting their spirits, and empowering their potential. May you continue to make a positive difference that echoes in their daily moments and long-term aspirations. In recognition of this incredible milestone, we are sending a plaque from all of us here at Unity World Headquarters to help mark this momentous occasion. Congratulations on this meaningful anniversary, and may you have many more. Namaste.
Namaste. Yay. The headquarters at Unity Village are gorgeous. Feels really nice to go there. So if you ever are in Missouri for fun, go to Unity Village. Actually, Missouri's gorgeous. Jim Yeaw is our speaker today, and we have 2 volunteers, Dalia and Hadley, who are talking. So for our 50th anniversary, we're having people, instead of the reading, we're going to have people talk just a minute about what unity means to them. So we'll do that instead of the reading. And our musician today is Elise Wonder. Yay! Our prayer chaplain of the day is Jenny Hout. So meet Jenny in the Myrtle room for a little spiritual sweetness. All right, it looks like we have people lining up. Come on up, Will.
Good morning, everybody. A week from this Thursday, the 20th of February, we're going to have our drumming circle again here at Unity in the Roomy Room from 5 to 6 p.m. If you've never come, check it out. We just were anonymously gifted some new drums that Unity now owns. Pretty cool. They're back in the Roomy Room. So if you're curious about how they might sound, come and join us a week from Thursday. We'd love to have you. Thank you. Oh, sure. I've been helping out in the library a little bit. We're cleaning out some older books, ones that are still have some value to them, and we put little red dots on them. And they're back in the bookstore, and they're available for you for a love offering, whatever that feels good to you about. So come and check them out. Thanks.
It's me again. Morning, everybody. If you don't already know, I've got another sound healing tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. in the Roomy Room. Friendly reminder for those who do attend, bring pillows, bring blankets, bring stuff to keep you warm, because it was pretty cold last week. But I would like to thank those who did come to my session last time. And for those of you who are interested, I've got a couple of my instruments in the back if you want to see them before tomorrow night. If not, I'll see you tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. in the Roomy Room.
Good morning. I have a few things. Lil wanted me to remind the women, that the first Saturday of March, we will have a potluck starting at 11 o'clock, and it'll be just a time of sharing and fun for all of us. So mark your calendars, okay? Here, yes. So the second thing is we did chaplain training. We have 10 chaplains on our team plus me. 76 of you have a chaplain. If you don't have a chaplain and you don't get a call the month of February, let me know or sign up by the prayer box and we will make sure you have a chaplain. And some of you have not had a chaplain and now you do, but you don't know it yet. So when your chaplain calls you, know that they might be feeling a little bit intimidated because they maybe not know who you are, or they're saying, hey, here I am, I'm your chaplain and I want to hold you in prayer every day of the month. So if you don't want a chaplain, just say to them, I'd prefer not to have a chaplain, and that's fine. But otherwise know that we have people now for over 3 years who've had a chaplain who has prayed for them every day. So look forward to that, and if you don't get a call, let me know. And the third thing that I need to say is I'm advertising this church today.
Hello. We are forming a new subgroup of the outreach team, and it is called Love in Action. It's based on the unity principles that we believe God is good and active in everything, everywhere, and the other principle that we do our best by living the truth we know. We are going to work together to make life a little easier for those at risk. If you feel inclined, please sign up to join us. We will be meeting after service next Sunday. And 21 people signed up last week. Woohoo! That's right, so far. So if you signed up last week, you don't need to sign up this week. Thank you.
We have our annual meeting coming up on Sunday, February 23rd after the service. We'd love to show off our accomplishments and our goals for next year. And we'll serve you pizza, so it'll be painless. Actually, the annual meeting is super, it's a celebration. We do so much here. The teams are busy and active, and we have so many people involved. So we'd love people to stay for the annual meeting. So please come to that. Cindy Sargent is right here. Kechompa. That joke in Guatemala, Cindy told me she was getting ready to go brush her chompas, her teeth, and I thought she was speaking Spanish to me. So I call her chompa, which actually means brush your teeth. Okay, so Cindy's going to talk about her latest trip to Guatemala. Okay, I think that does it. So let's join together. Take a big, deep breath in. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I had a fun gig at the swing station last night. And I'm a part of the inception of a lot of projects right now. I actually just started a Nirvana Unplugged cover band for all of you Nirvana fans out there. We'll be playing at the Atrium on April 4th. Also, I'll be playing John Prine tribute at Washington's on April 14th. Sunday, whatever that Sunday is, and it's almost sold out, so if you want to go, you better get on it. And I think that's about all. I'm learning a lot of ABBA right now. Eastern sun, melt the cold from my bones, curtain rise, taking darkness from my eyes, breathing in, pulling life into my lungs. As a child, I am born again. Eastern sun, melt the cold from my bones, curtain rise, take the darkness from my eyes, breathing in, pulling life into my lungs. As a child, I am born again. Eastern sun, melt the cold from my bones, curtain rise, take the darkness from my eyes, breathing in, pulling life into my lungs. As a child, I am born again. Eastern sun, melt the cold from my bones, curtain rise, take the darkness from my eyes, breathing in, pulling life into my lungs. As a child, I am born again. Eastern sun, melt the cold from my bones, curtain rise, pull the darkness from my eyes, breathing in, pulling life into my lungs. As a child, I am born again. Eastern sun, melt the cold from my bones, curtain rise, take the darkness from my eyes, breathing in, pulling life into my lungs. As a child, I am born again.
Good morning. I'm Dale Pettigrew, aka Dalia. I was introduced to Unity in 2009 as I was recovering from a bicycle accident in the summer of 2008 by a friend and colleague. I experienced a traumatic brain injury. I have always been a human doing, measuring my self-worth by what I could do and how well I could do it. The medical community did an incredible job putting me back together physically. Then joining Unity has put me back together emotionally and spiritually. And I found a new way to physically do by being a greeter. The weekly messages and the relationships I have made in this community have healed my spirit and taught me about being a human being. I am so grateful.
With, one more, okay.
Okay, I'm Hadley, and Dalia's speech was very eloquent. My speech probably will not be that eloquent, so yeah. But I first came to Unity about, a few months ago, and I kind of just wanted to try out going to a church because I was like, a lot of people like churches, so maybe I should see what all this is about. So I went to a few different churches, kind of looking for one that was a good fit for me. And what I really like about Unity is that there are a lot of different viewpoints. And I think it's kind of rare for a church to truly have people with different views. And sometimes someone will get up here and do a sermon and say, I think this is what God is. And then someone else will come up and say, I think this is what God is. And sometimes we get sermons that kind of conflict or stuff like that, and I really like that because some churches might say that's a bad thing, but I think that you can only really learn from people who have different opinions than you. So, yeah.
We're good then, right? Nobody else? Excellent. It was going to get a bulletin before service started, but sometimes you play shows late and wake up early. So with the theme of Jim's speech today, I just wanted to keep the music really simple. So today we're just going to do a little chant. And I'm going to do it now instead of the last song right before this little light of mine. So we'll see how we like the flow. So it's just Om So Hum, which means I am that. So I just want to invite you to close your eyes if you want to put both feet on the ground. And just take a nice deep breath in through that floor, through your feet, up to your lungs and your heart space. And breathe that out. And one more time, we'll just all take a nice breath together. Just start tapping into your body, and as we start to make these vibration phonations together, just pay attention to that vibration that's happening in your body, in the sound in which you are immersed and surrounded by. Om So Hum. Om Keep going. Last time together. Just another deep breath in together. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Elise. Thank you for those words. I am that. Because in a few minutes, as I share with you some things, you're going to see I am that. We've been, on Thursdays, we've had about 20 of you very much involved in a class on unity fundamentals. And one of the things that we've been studying and discussing is the nature of the divine. We've been looking at these two books, The Power Within You by Eric Butterworth, and another one called Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady. And he discusses something about the nature of the divine. And so I thought I'd take you on a journey today around the world, discovering the nature of the divine. One of the first places I'd like to take you is the subcontinent of India. In ancient times, in most of the world, most of us humankind really notice nature. And so we worship nature. We looked at the stars and the sun. We looked at the storms, the earthquakes, deeper in that than perhaps we'd ever appreciated. So in India, in ancient times, they conceived that the power behind everything, including the force of nature, is one creative, constructive spirit that expresses in a number of ways. In their language, Brahma was the name they gave to this one. Creative, constructive spirit. And that name was written in their holy scriptures, the Vedas, around 1400 BCE. Many faith traditions use art such as this, such as sculpture, to try to represent that source, that creative spirit. Brahma here is depicted with 4 faces, because each face represents one of the 4 Vedas, the sacred scriptures of the Hinduism. It signifies a role as the creator of the universe and the source of all knowledge contained within those sacred texts. Multiple faces, as you can see here, symbolize the all-encompassing nature of creative power and the ability to perceive in all directions everything. In that same area on our planet, in Buddhism, the Buddha taught that the experience of the divine is all anyone can know of that presence. He accepted the Hindu concept of a being that preceded the universe, but is approachable only through meditation. And that knowledge came only through experiencing. The name he gave for that being was ultimate reality. He taught that the divine is original, is eternal, and is conscious of us that are trapped in action and thoughts that are filled with desire and attachment. The Buddha taught that individuals such as us are also eternal, with a potential to discover and perceive a true self within us, and to perceive also the source. A third faith in the continent of India is found by a man by the name of Nanak, and that faith is known as Sikhism. Nanak taught that there is only one supreme presence that created divine human beings with individual consciousness. All one, but with individual consciousness. They named that source Waheguru, meaning, in 2 words, Va from the Persian tradition, and Guru from Sanskrit, meaning spiritual parent. Taken together, that name, Waheguru, expresses the wonder of the divine and the creator in the Sikh faith. So on our quick journey around the world, let's look at Egypt. Once upon a time, there was a man named Manus. He was the founder of a belief system that united 2 major land areas near the Nile that eventually became Egypt. He was their self-appointed monarch, the designer of their new culture, and the creator of a new law system. Manus claimed that direct personal communication with a divine presence is everyone's potential. Amon is the name that Manus gave to this presence. Manus said that Amon is indescribable. It's too great to be understood by anyone that had not perceived it within themselves. Manus said that Amon only desired that each person practice being good. So, what is good? What is good? Manus went into meditation, and he soon reported that Amon had revealed to him that there is a thinking, feeling person in each of us. And the temporary encasement of the real person while they were on earth. The answer then about what is good is within each thinking, feeling person. So that's Egypt. Now, in about 1800 BCE, a great city named Babylon was built on the banks of the Euphrates River. Like Menes, the Babylonians believe there's only one source and one presence. The source created the universe and all that is in it. They gave the source was Marduk, and their concept was quite different from that of the Hebrews and the Israelites who lived nearby. Marduk had given people free will to choose their ways. And Marduk also placed the law of cause and effect in the world in order to entice people to prefer moral and ethical behavior. It was not a system of reward and punishment, but a universal law of action and reaction at work all the time, without regard to person. The universe was created with the power of that law within it. People also were created with a power inside themselves, the power to be conscious, the power to choose. People are said to have inside of them the potential for both good and evil. They could choose good as their way of life, or they could choose evil as their way. We now go to about 700 BCE, and the man by the name of Zoroaster, who wielded great influence in the cities and tribes throughout Greece and Persia. He was a well-educated philosopher who contemplated questions about the divine and what those answers meant to the lives of the people. In essence, he was engaged in a comparative study of the world's religions that he knew of. He spent hours contemplating the merit and the logic of what he had learned. 10 years into his self-directed study of various beliefs, the man had a vision. He was contemplating good thought, and the good thought took him to an image of an archangel. So he named the archangel Good Thought. And in his imagery, Good Thought took his attention deep into the presence of wisdom and righteousness, which he described as the one God. He said that while he was there, in the presence of wisdom and righteousness, he received the enlightenment of what true religion is. Throughout this, Zoroaster brought to that region of the world a belief that there is only one, and that one is only love and only wisdom. The name he gave to that presence, that one, is Mazda. The nature of Maz is all righteousness, all wisdom, and it's available to the minds of all persons at all times. It is good thought, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-benevolent, giving, radiant, glorious, beautiful, perfectly helpful, and perfectly harmless. So, that's Eastern. We probably should look at something from the philosophy of China. Chinese philosophy and what is known as the Tao. The best known presenter of this philosophy was Lao Tzu, 604 BCE. Although existed for hundreds of years prior to that date, Lao Tzu left a small book. It was entitled The Tao Te Ching, meaning the way and the power. It expresses the idea that the purpose of life on earth is to perceive the way. Perceive the way things really are. The way is to perceive being, existence, or that which is. It is not to ask for wisdom or knowledge, but to sit in the silence with a blank mind. Eventually, the ever-constant existence, the ever-conscious existence, will reveal all the nuances of ultimate reality to the mind of the meditator. Thus we can have wisdom without effort. The ultimate reality is exquisite beauty and harmony. So, in this brief survey, I presented 7 names of the divine from 7 faith traditions. We have Brahma, Waheguru, Aman, Marduk, Mazda, Good Thought, the Tao. I hope that you have seen that although humankind has many names for the divine, there are many similarities running through the definition of the One. The One has been perceived by many peoples many times, and it's always the same, the One. I've not mentioned our Abrahamic religions. The religions of Abraham are Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. In fact, it's interesting, even if you go into Judaism, they have many names. These are all found in the Jewish scriptures. Every one of them, Yahweh, El Shaddai, Adonai, Yeaw, Elohim, Mashem, which, by the way, means the name. But when we translated the Jewish scriptures into Greek, Latin, Old English, we lost it all. Every time one of these names was mentioned in the Hebrew scriptures, it was translated as either God or Lord. All these individual names which have an individual meaning were lost to humankind. I'm going to tell you about an individual, perhaps out of the Jewish scriptures you've never heard of before. He's found in Numbers chapter 25. You see, the Jewish scriptures were formed when the children of Israel were in Babylon. And when they were persecuted Babylonians, the Jewish people didn't have a story of their heritage. So they took various accounts and they cobbled it together and made a national story. Unfortunately, they told stories about some of the presences, such as Yahweh, and they created stories in their image. Not always pretty stories. And the story that I'm going to mention, Phineas, in Numbers 25, is quite a story. You see, the children of Israel intermarried with Moabite women, so the two peoples shared in a common worship. Yahweh furiously commands that the peoples quit this practice. The chiefs of Israel were to be killed as a means of quenching his anger. Moses commands his subordinates to kill anyone that had married a Moabite. So 24,000 Hebrews were killed in a plague. Phineas decides to take matters in his own hand. So he murdered his mixed-race neighbors, a Hebrew man, Zimri, who had married a Midianite woman. Yahweh decides to end the plague and grants Phineas a covenant of peace. You know, an obvious reading of that terrible sacred text is that if your neighbors are doing something that egregiously violates God's law, you can and you must take up arms and launch a vigilante action to them at the point of murder. And then Yahweh will bless the event. These are just stories that have been conjured up in the name where we have made the presence and the power of God similar to ourselves, our own actions. Made in the image of the worst of humankind. Certainly, these are just stories to condone human action. Jesus had a lot to say about the gods of the Israelites and the gods of Christianity. he used another name, Abba, which means daddy. And in our New Thought tradition, we have also renamed God. In fact, in these books, Eric Butterworth, in this book here, Power Within You, says the name of this infinite, inexhaustible depth and ground of being is God. The word God is just a name. Is a name for a presence. A name like Joe and Tim and Mary or Joan. It doesn't suggest any other attribute, gender, or condition. And you are free to use any name. Any name. You can choose another name if you wish. Maybe that name is your name because you are a loving expression of that presence. Emily Cady, in this little book, Lessons in Truth, says, God is the name we give to that unchangeable principle at the source of all existence. Yes, God is just a name. God is not an object. God is not a person. God is love. God is wisdom. God is peace. And the old names, the old stories that we hear, that were conjured up by ancient people to justify the actions of their God, are just that, just stories. Shakespeare, I told Sharon that I would bring in love today because it's Valentine's week. So I am going to quote Shakespeare now. Shakespeare, a rose by any other name was smell as sweet. It's a famous line from Romeo and Juliet, meaning the essence of something remains the same regardless of what you call it. Essentially, a name does not change the true nature of a thing. So that's the lesson of all these names for God. God is the same, but there's many names. And the name that you call God is the name that you can use. You're totally free to do that. But we also remember the name God is just a name that some people have given. And some of us get so upset when we hear the name God. It's just a name. In this play, Juliet says that when she was lamenting the fact that Romeo is from the family of Montague, her family's enemy, suggests that if he had a different name, any name, their love would still flourish. The core idea is that labels or names are not important. It is the actual qualities of stuff. Is your source something like the one that spiritual seekers of many faith traditions have discovered? Is that your source? Can you identify with that source? That presence? That presence, whatever you name it? Because the name doesn't make any difference at all. Juliet uses a rose as a metaphor for Romeo, implying that even if he had a different name, he would be the same person that she loves. So God, source, presence, ground of being, any name is still God. It is also source. It is also spirit. So we think about that on our Valentine's Day. Amen.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is everywhere. And every thought's indeed a prayer.
I'd invite you, if you would, to comfortably find a place, your feet on the floor. Let's just take a deep breath. And as we breathe in the love of God. And we breathe out the presence of Source. We breathe in the love of the ground of being. And we breathe out the presence. And so we quiet our minds and just sit in the silence in gratefulness. There's only one presence and one power in the universe, called by different names, by different people, but we're all one. We're one with the stars. We're one with the universe. We're one with people on the other side of this beautiful globe. We're one with all it is. So just let that thought just come into your beings. We are one. We are one with that which is called by many names. So in our beautiful world today, we send healing energy to every sentient being. May we learn to love as Spirit loves. May we learn peace, an essential part of the ultimate reality. And so may it be. Amen.
May the blessings of God rest upon me. May God's peace abide in me. May God's presence illuminate my heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon me. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon us. May God's peace abide in us. May God's presence illuminate our hearts now and forevermore. Now and forevermore.
So I invite the ushers to come forward. And thank you, Elise, for your beautiful voice. Yes. So as we gather here in this sacred time, I invite you to take your offering and hold in your hands with gratefulness. With gratefulness. We are so blessed. And let's bless our offering with these words. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
time for the kids. Said this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Said this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. You on the corner of lines and mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I said here on the corner of lines and mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Here on the corner of lines and mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Okay, Nancy Hughes.
Well, today was our first day of writing scripts for our puppets. Hi, Hadley. Hey, sweetie. And it's a challenge. I'm telling you, it's been a challenge. Anybody that's really good at writing and doing story writing, please help me. Okay? I'm begging. But it was fun. We had a good day. You guys want to say anything about it? Okay.
Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate you. Nancy is our Director of Children's Ministry. Thank you. Okay. Shall we close up the party and circle up? So the words on our screen. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. That might be the wife.
Hello.